PolyClaw is an OpenClaw skill for Polymarket. PolyClaw lets you do a few cool things right from your messenger. Check the trending Polymarket bets with the market IDs and everything you need. Do LLM-based hedging to actually let the PolyClaw skill find an edge in the current market. I'll talk about this a little bit later. Buy and sell bets. Here's the architecture. And by the way, it's all free on the free tiers, with the exception of actually making the actual bets on the Polymarket, of course. You have your Mac Mini, of course, running the OpenClaw instance. I mean, it doesn't have to be a Mac Mini, obviously. You can run the instance on the systems that OpenClaw supports. The OpenClaw instance with the PolyClaw skill communicates with the following components. Polymarket Gamma API used for reading market data. This is where you ask questions like what are the trending markets and what's the current price of the market and so on, and get the responses from the Polymarket Gamma API. Then you have ChainStack Polygon RPC, your node, which handles the actual transactions on the Polygon mainnet. You need USDCE for this, and this is when you exchange your on-chain dollars for the votes. USDCE, by the way, is the bridged version unlike USDC. It can be confusing, I know, but it's in the README file of the skill, so don't worry, you'll get it figured out. You can get the USDC to USDCE conversion through an exchange like QuickSwap. And by the way, the ChainStack free developer plan subscription is going to be more than enough for PolyClaw. And then you have Polymarket Club API. This is the order book. When you buy a bet, your USDCE gets first split into yes and no tokens on the chain. Then the skill sells the side you don't want on the club order book. So if you're betting yes, it sells your no tokens, and you pocket whatever you get back. That's how the split plus club execution works. ChainStack Polygon RPC handles the on-chain part. That's where your dollars actually get converted into tokens on Polygon. The club handles the off-chain part. That's the order book where you sell what you don't want. And then you have the OpenRouter API. This is for the hedge discovery feature I mentioned earlier. This is the smart market trading, or you can even call it arbitrage. The skill uses an LLM to find logical relationships between markets. Not correlations, actual logical implications. For example, if market A says Trump wins the election and market B says Republicans control the Senate, the LLM analyzes whether one logically implies the other. If you can find two markets where the outcomes are logically linked, but the prices don't reflect that, you have an edge. The skill scores these as coverage tiers. Tier 1 is 95% or higher coverage, basically near free arbitrage opportunities. And while you need OpenRouter API key, you can pick a free model to use a model there, and it's going to cost you nothing. So here is the full flow of the PolyClaw skill in OpenClaw. You usually start with something like saying what's trending on Polymarket and get a response from the Gamma API of Polymarket with the full market IDs. You can pull up the details of each of these markets with the links to them by replying with the market ID. And if you want to do this without the hedge scan and the discovery part, say for example you have internal beliefs and convictions, you can just say buy a yes amount or a no amount of this specific market ID, and the order will go through the ChainStack Polygon RPC and the Polygon Club API and take a position. Or you can use the hedge scan first by saying something like hedge scan limit 10, or you can use more natural language like find arbitrage opportunities on Polymarket API or on Polymarket and limit to 50. And this will start a job, and do know that it can take some time, a few minutes actually to complete. And the job will start pulling the open markets that are there on Polymarket, and will be sending the data with strict instructions to the OpenRouter LLMs that you set up in your PolyClaw config for analysis, and this will keep looking for your edge on the market. And then once the job completes, you'll get a response in your OpenClaw instance on the markets where you can take hedged positions in to extract the money from the market. Now, a few important notes before you dive in. PolyClaw is based on the Polymarket AlphaBot by ChainStack and by a developer advocate here at ChainStack, whose name is Anton. It's an amazing bot, and we open sourced this bot earlier, and this skill is essentially a messenger-friendly version of it. There is a separate video coming out on this bot, so do check it out when or if it's available. The repository itself is already out today, both for the bot and for the skill. And security-wise, Security wise, this is of course important, keep only small amounts in the bot you use with PolyClaw. This is all experimental software. The private key sits in your config file for convenience, which is fine for automation but not ideal for large sums. So trade with what you are comfortable losing and regularly rotate funds out to secure wallet. Links to everything, including the skill on ClawHub, on which the skill is already published, the GitHub repository, and the original Polymarket alphabot are all in the description. And that's it. That's PolyClaw, Polymarket arbitrage in your pocket.